GM Cosmonauts. In today's video, I want to talk about Cosmos DeFi and specifically about one coin that you might not have on your radar yet. Also, I want to comment on Evmos coming out and saying they want to align more with Ethereum, which left a lot of cosmonauts puzzled, and the Atom halving idea, which is about to go on chain. And I want to share some thoughts here as well. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Subscribe right now on this channel. Like this video, share it with your friends. Also on Twitter and tag me at Cryptocito. And now let's get started with today's video. First things first, some housekeeping. Obviously, the market has been really nice over the past week. We're seeing now Atom at $8.65, actually making back some ranks. According to CoinGecko, it's right now ranked 29, and we're about to overtake Ethereum Classic ETC, which would make us rank 28. And we're slowly but surely crawling back to the top 20, which is good to see. Still below $10, Atom really, in my opinion, is extremely undervalued, but it did have a nice little run. But yeah, Quasar up 44%. Trading at 2.7 cents right now. And Quasar is also the main reason why I'm doing today's video. Quasar, in my opinion, is one of these Cosmos coins that is brand new, but they have very, very strong product market fit. They just launched. They just raised money, so they're also relatively well funded coming out of this bear market. And they're well positioned to be one of the stars in the next bull run, in my view. Now, I have to disclaim here that I am an advisor to Quasar, and also with Cryptocito, we are running a validator. So you now might say, yo, we knew it, Cito, you are biased. Or you might also say, Cito has skin in the game. And I don't really take a lot of advisory roles. I had a lot of offers also to do sponsorships for the channel. But I'm very, very selective on that. And I think with Quasar, it was a great match because I really like the team. I've been knowing them now for around a year, I would say at this point. And I really like their philosophy, their vision, and their results so far, which is something I want to talk about right now. But fully diluted valuation, $17 million. I think that's based on the total supply, max supply 1 billion. Also, the liquidity is quite thin at this point, because it's just also a brand new project and a brand new coin. But nonetheless, I believe what's more important here to look at, if you are preparing for the next bull run, is to look at results, is to look at numbers, is to look at product market fit. And Quasar, over the past month, has just been absolutely killing it. Their TVL, and for those that are not familiar with Quasar, they are basically a decentralized asset management platform. They have vaults, which you can find here on their website. You can see vaults such as the TIA USDC vault, where you can just deposit your tokens to, and then it would automatically generate the best yield possible. Quasar is also the first and only one, as far as I know, that applies concentrated liquidity strategies, which means even more capital efficiency. They also have Noble USDC and USDT pools, so stablecoin pools that generate 25% APR. Now, the TVL for these vaults went up within the past month from $2 million to $8.3 million, which is a 350% increase. At the same time, the share of the entire liquidity on osmosis that is now managed through Quasar doubled, more than doubled, from 4% to 8.5%. So almost a tenth of the liquidity is now coming from Quasar. ProtoRef increased its revenue from $500 to 13.5K US dollars, which is a 26x increase in revenue. Also, what's super important, and this is a huge net positive for the entire Cosmos DeFi space or the IBC DeFi space, is that now 60% of the entire stablecoin supply on osmosis are deployed through Quasar. And 51% of the TIA supply on osmosis went into this wallet, the TIA USDC, which has now also reached its cap. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying all this because I think Quasar is well positioned to be a DeFi blue chip in the Cosmos space, in the IBC space, and it has very, very, very strong product market fit. And as of right now, I think QSR as a project, as a token, is still not pricing that in. Another thing that Quasar did, which I think really represents and showcases their philosophy, which is what I meant earlier, that they have partnered with Sommelier Finance. And Quasar and Sommelier are oftentimes seen as competitors. And this is also sometimes the philosophy I see in Cosmos, is that it's an either or. It's a black and white scenario. Either you camp this or camp that. But Quasar really says, we don't care. We just want to build cool products. And what this means is that you can now use yield ETH from Sommelier, which is a Sommelier Vault token, in Cosmos DeFi through Quasar. This is a great example of how perceived competitors can actually out-collaborate the broader competition. At the same time, I also want to point out that I believe Sommelier itself is undervalued. $41 million based on the circulating supply is the market cap, and $82 million based on the fully diluted valuation. With a TVL of $47 million, this is, in my view, a huge opportunity. And they're also super well funded, $27.5 million that they've raised. While both of them are Cosmos chains, Sommelier focuses through their Gravity Bridge implementation on Ethereum liquidity, whereas Quasar focuses on Cosmos liquidity and Cosmos DeFi. But now I think there's also going to be more and more overlaps here. But if we look at the potential for Quasar, if it had the market cap of Sommelier today, it would have a 4.6x upside potential. But also, I think Quasar is one of the fastest growing DeFi applications in Cosmos. Along with Levana, they're also growing really fast. But yeah, I think Quasar is the one that's less talked about. And Quasar has huge upside. Given that it only has a $17 million fully diluted valuation, this, in my opinion, is a great opportunity. Now, of course, the downside is that this goes to zero tomorrow. This can always happen in crypto. It's wild, wild west. You need to be aware of the risks. But I think the risk reward here is quite interesting. It makes this an interesting bet in that sense, right? Another thing that just went through on Quasar governance is the wave 1 for the QSR airdrop. This airdrop is targeted for 2,157 addresses that participated in the Quasar testnet. And if you have done that and did at least 3 transactions up until March 10th, you will get 4,750 QSR tokens, which currently is worth around $130 US. What's important here to note, if you're eligible, and you can check that on their website already, is that there's going to be a 30-day period where you can claim. Unclaimed tokens will revert to the community pool, and claiming is scheduled to be enabled at the end of November. So within the next 2 or 3 weeks, be on the lookout for that if you're eligible, so you don't miss the claiming of it. And also, this is just the first of potentially 3 scheduled airdrops. So to recap, I really believe that Quasar, Sommelier, and there's many more, even Kujira, Osmosis itself, even lending protocols like Mars, Umi, leverage platforms like Levana, even Crescent with their Flip project, are going to launch a DeFi summer in Cosmos. They're going to bring back a lot of liquidity, now also that we have native stables with Noble USDC and Tether USDT on Kava. And a lot of that will potentially flood into these new generation of DeFi protocols in Cosmos. Talking about new generation, Evmos is going to enter a new generation, a new era, as they're now announced that they are pivoting basically more towards the Ethereum community. Now, does that mean that they're abandoning Cosmos? Of course not. They're not abandoning Cosmos. It just means that they are targeting more the Ethereum community to onboard them to Evmos. By Ethereum community, I mean actual users, but also developers to build on Evmos. And since Evmos implements the EVM, that's why it's called Evmos, EVM on Cosmos, this makes a lot of sense, right? Still, Evmos is a Cosmos-based chain. It implements IBC, and you can learn everything about EVM extensions, outposts, and all these important things in my recent video that I did about Evmos 2.0. Now, here they're also stating that in the thread announcement, Evmos is not leaving the Cosmos ecosystem, but transforming it. We're abstracting Cosmos functionality to enhance the developer and user experience, fostering ecosystem growth. So this is an interesting move. I personally think this might actually be the right move to target Ethereum developers. Atom halving. Now, the atom halving is this idea to cut the inflation rate for Atom in half. As of right now, the Atom inflation rate is set between a floor of 7% and a roof of 20%, which is pegged to the bonded ratio of Atom, which is 2/3. If it's below that, it goes up. If it's above it, it goes down. And the idea is now to say, hey, let's reduce it down to 10% and 3.5% respectively. And let's make Atom more competitive. Let's make it more a form of money. Let's boost the adoption for the liquid staking module, which Zaki has also developed, and drive more users towards Mars, Interprotocol, Levana, etc. Because right now the problem is that people are more incentivized to just stake Atom instead of using any of these lending protocols, because staking Atom has such a high yield, 19 point something percent, where you don't really want to use that in DeFi if you get less yields. So by reducing the inflation rate, this could be accelerated, Cosmos DeFi. And at the same time, we could also see more investors' appetite for Atom as an asset, because Atom as interchain money would be stronger, right? There's a lot of concerns around it about how the community will react. Will this cause more drama? Maybe it's too early. The bull run is just coming back. Atom is going to do fine. But from my personal sentiment, I believe the majority of the community actually wants this, right? And I've been doing videos on Atom for the past 2.5 years. And I got a lot of messages from you guys, from the community, saying, yo, Cito, the Atom inflation is too high. It needs to go down. This needs to be fixed. Atom tokenomics, there is no burn mechanism. The inflation is just out of control and it's not sustainable. So I want to ask you to go on Twitter, comment under this tweet that I did, and leave me your thoughts. Do you think it makes sense? What do you think is important for the Atom halving to be considered in terms of validator relations, in terms of DeFi relations, in terms of risks? And do you think it makes sense or no? That said, I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe to the channel, stay safe, and be good.